Well, for more on that story over in the US, I'm joined now by Cole Stangler from France 24's business desk. Cole, you've been looking at the fallout from Thursday's decision at the US Supreme Court. And what has the business reaction been like so far?
Yes, of course, a big defeat for the Biden administration, Thomas. These rules were aimed, again, at companies with at least 100 employees that would have forced workers at these firms to be either fully vaccinated against COVID or to test regularly and to wear a mask on the job. And while the business reaction has been somewhat muted so far, actually, to be sure, some of the big lobby groups have praised the ruling. For instance, the National Retail Federation helped bring the case, and it called the ruling, quote, a significant victory for employers. It's also been applauded by the National Federation of Independent Business and the main lobby for truckers. But other big trade groups have been more even-handed, reflecting just how sensitive this issue is, both in terms of their members, but also the public at large. The Business Roundtable, a very powerful lobby, in particular, said it, quote, respected the ruling, noting that the firms have different approaches to the issue. And then the two largest employers in the U.S., Walmart and Amazon, both yet to react. At the end of the day, it means things are really back to square one. You know, a lot of employers were counting on the government to more or less resolve this issue for them, and they were counting on OSHA, that's the U.S. Workplace Safety Agency. Now they're basically going to have to write their own rules if they haven't done so already. It's something that White House spokesperson Jen Psaki more or less acknowledged when she spoke yesterday.
The Supreme Court's decision on the OSHA mandate essentially means that in this pandemic, it is up to individual employers to determine whether their workplaces will be safe for employees and whether their businesses will be safe for consumers. So President Biden, you'll see this in his statement, will be calling on and will continue to call on businesses to immediately join those who have already stepped up, including 1/3 of Fortune 100 companies, to institute vaccination requirements to protect their workers, customers, and communities.
Now, Cole, it's more or less up to the private sector to regulate itself. So how many companies in the US do have vaccine requirements?
Well, it's a mixed bag. So a number of very high-profile companies have taken this route. As we just heard, about 1/3 of Fortune 100 companies that have some type of requirements. Then you have a few firms like Google, United Airlines, and Citigroup, which require all employees to be vaccinated, religious and medical exemptions. Notwithstanding, of course, that is something that U.S. courts have allowed. Then you have another group, that second group you can see there, which has rules that apply to employees working in person in the office. These are companies like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Meta, which owns Facebook. Now, all that said, most companies do not have vaccine mandates in place. According to a Gallup poll in December, only 36% of American employees said their boss requires them to be vaccinated against COVID. That number was unchanged from October, so there's been a leveling off on this front. In any case, before this decision from the court. And it'll be interesting to see now how things evolve from now. You had a lot of companies that were writing rules in anticipation of these federal requirements that now won't take effect. So the question is, do they go ahead and implement them anyways, or do they ultimately say it's not worth it? And in the end, Thomas, the answer may depend too on where companies are based. Don't forget, we're talking about a country here where you have some states where vaccination rates are at 80%, some states just around 50%. And either way, we should know more on this issue in the coming months.
Okay, Cole Stangler from our business desk. Thank you very much.